She worked for a billionaire family that barely noticed her, yet every evening she disappeared into the crowded streets with heavy bags in her hands. One day, the billionaire followed her, and what he saw that night would change his entire life forever. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to Black Inside 2.0 for more inspiring emotional stories. The silent employee. The sun had barely risen over the beautiful European city where marble streets glowed in early morning warmth. Cafes opened, and the smell of freshly baked bread floated through the air. Delivery vans whistled by, pedestrians hurried to work, and tourist groups gathered on every corner. Among all this movement was Amara, a hotel maid from a distant homeland, wearing a deep red uniform and a gray apron, her expression always calm, her walk graceful, her eyes full of dignity. She was not someone most people noticed. Tourists didn't care who changed their bedsheets or who scrubbed the marble floors. Guests rarely asked her name, yet, she worked with a kind smile and always greeted everyone with the same gentle, good morning. The large hotel where she worked, Verda Palace, was owned by one of the most powerful families in the city, the Rossi family. At the top of that family stood Leonardo Rossi, heir to a billion-dollar hospitality empire. Tall, well-built, dressed always in black leather or immaculate suits, he walked like someone who had never worried about anything in life. People described him as confident, strategic, and intimidating. Others said he was cold, but the truth was different. Leonardo was lonely, perhaps even broken by responsibility. With all the wealth he inherited from his late parents, he found himself trusting no one, questioning every new face around him. He believed every person wanted something from him. So when he noticed the new maid, Amara, he didn't see her kindness, he saw mystery. The suspicion. One afternoon, walking through the hotel lobby, Leonardo passed Amara as she quietly arranged flowers near the reception desk. She didn't look up, didn't try to impress him, didn't even appear nervous around the owner. That made him curious. Who was she to be so calm around him? He asked the receptionist, the new maid, Amara. When did she start? 3 months ago, the receptionist answered. She's a great worker, barely takes breaks. Very polite. Leonardo frowned. Barely takes breaks. That didn't sound like someone who took a job casually. The hotel manager added, she never asks for favors. She leaves exactly at 5 p.m. and walks out with groceries every day. But her salary isn't much, so we're not sure how she manages it. Groceries every day, on a maid's salary. Leonardo's mind stirred with suspicion. Was she stealing from the hotel? Was she using the staff kitchen? Was she selling something? At that moment, his logic, shaped by years of corporate battles, convinced him that no one spends money without a reason. He decided to investigate. The following begins. The next day, Leonardo waited across the street at 4:55 p.m., blending into the crowd, wearing a casual leather jacket. When Amara clocked out, she walked with purpose, not glancing around. She headed to a market, bought vegetables, fruits, bread, and milk. She paid carefully, counting coins. Leonardo watched from afar, confused. Maybe she's feeding a large family, but why not take leftovers from the hotel like other workers? Then, instead of going home, she marched to older areas of the city, where the buildings were weathered, the walls marked with faded paint, and the air smelled of time. Leonardo followed quietly, though he felt strangely uncomfortable. He was a man who gave orders, who never needed to follow anyone. Yet here he was, trailing behind a maid. Amara stopped in front of a small building that looked abandoned. She knocked gently. A week-old voice answered from inside. When she entered, Leonardo felt an impulse to peek through a dusty window. Inside, a frail woman sat in a chair, coughing heavily. Amara unpacked the groceries, washed fruit, warmed milk, sliced bread, and fed the woman with patience, like a daughter caring for a parent. Leonardo stepped back. This is what she does after work. He stood there for nearly an hour, watching Amara clean, cook, and encourage the woman to eat. Finally, she tucked a blanket around the old lady, smiled softly, then slipped out quietly before the woman could thank her again. Amara closed the door gently, like someone protecting a secret. Leonardo's mind fought to make sense of it all. Why help someone like that? She earned so little, unless she owed that woman something. But what? His curiosity doubled. The second night, the next evening, he followed her again. This time, she visited a small school ground. Children ran to her as she arrived, hugging her legs. She brought them fruit and juice, helped them with homework, and played with them. They called her Auntie Alma. They were clearly from low-income families. They looked happy with her. Leonardo watched her share laughter, correction, encouragement, all on a maid's salary. One teacher approached her and hugged her with gratitude. Leonardo overheard, "God bless you, Amara. If you didn't help these kids, they wouldn't have meals after school." Leonardo froze. Meals, she's their only source. He walked away slowly, shaken. For the first time in his adult life, he felt small next to someone who had nothing but gave everything. The third night, the breaking point. He decided to follow her a third night. This time, she bought groceries as usual. But instead of walking, she rushed toward a hospital. Her breathing quickened. She was clearly worried. Leonardo followed closely and saw her speak anxiously with a nurse. Moments later, a stretcher was rolled out. The same old woman from the abandoned building was being transferred into the hospital. Amara's eyes filled with tears, but she kept holding the woman's hand, whispering comforting words. Leonardo felt something stir inside. Is this her mother? He stepped back again, watching. The doctor explained something gently to Amara, and she nodded with gratitude. Then she went to the reception desk. Leonardo saw her open her wallet. There was only a little cash in it, barely enough. Yet she handed it over without hesitation. Suddenly, the nurse shook her head. Amara looked confused. The nurse smiled and pointed to a computer screen. Leonardo realized he had just paid the hospital deposit anonymously. He didn't remember stepping forward, didn't remember pulling out his credit card. His body acted before his mind. Amara looked around, confused, searching for the mysterious helper. She wiped a tear from her cheek and whispered, "Whoever you are, thank you." Leonardo walked out before she saw him. For the first time in years, his heart felt something he didn't know how to describe. It wasn't pity, it was admiration, respect, inspiration, the confrontation. The next morning, Leonardo couldn't concentrate. Meetings felt pointless, spreadsheets meaningless. His company handled billions, yet his mind was with a maid who gave away her little income without expecting a thank you. During lunch, he asked his hotel manager, "Do you know why Amara lives here? Does she have family?" The manager looked puzzled. "She doesn't mention her personal life. She keeps it private, but she works weekends for extra hours, maybe to send money home." Leonardo's admiration grew again. He decided to speak to her. That evening, as she clocked out, Leonardo approached her. She jumped slightly. No one expected the owner to meet them at the exit. "Mr. Rossi," she whispered respectfully. "Can we talk?" he asked gently. She nodded, unsure. They walked outside and stood near the corner of the street, where faded buildings and elegant hotels meet, the perfect metaphor for that moment. "I noticed you buy groceries every day," Leonardo began. Instantly, Amara stiffened, afraid she might be accused of something. Leonardo continued, "Don't be worried. I just want to understand why." She took a deep breath, realizing she had nothing to hide. She explained softly, "I help a few people. A woman who reminds me of my grandmother. Some children who need food after their classes. Just a small contribution," Leonardo replied, "but you barely keep anything for yourself. Why not save more? You deserve a comfortable life." She smiled gently, the kind of smile that comes from inner strength, not comfort. "I came here alone, no family with me, but I found people who needed love more than I needed money. If I'm able to share, I will." Silence followed. Leonardo had never felt so humbled. Giving back. The next week, Leonardo insisted she take a leave from work. She hesitated, but he said firmly, "It's for something important." She agreed reluctantly. Then everything changed. Leonardo used his company's resources to renovate the old building where the woman lived. He hired doctors to treat her long-term health condition. He created a small food program for the school children. He didn't announce it publicly. He didn't put his name on anything. He simply told the school and the building residents. Someone was inspired by Amara. He also promoted her. She was no longer a maid. She became the community relations manager of Rossi Hotels, a new department created just for her. When she returned to work and saw the renovated building, the children's food program, and her new role, she couldn't speak. She cried quietly, covering her mouth with her hands. Leonardo stood beside her, not as a billionaire, but as a student of kindness. "You taught me something," he said gently. "You showed me real wealth." Amara whispered through tears, "I did nothing special." Leonardo replied, "No, you did something rare. You shared your heart." Legacy of kindness. Months passed. The project grew. More schools received meals. More abandoned buildings were restored. Staff members volunteered. Even tourists donated when they heard the story. But public credit always went to Amara's program, not to Leonardo. One day, she asked him, "Why hide your name? Why not take recognition?" He smiled. "Sometimes the biggest gift you can give is letting someone else shine. You gave first. I'm only following your example." She lowered her eyes, humbled. A billionaire chosen by fate, a maid chosen by compassion. That night, Leonardo wrote in his journal, something he hadn't done since childhood. Money builds hotels, kindness builds homes, and Amara, with her quiet steps and unshakable heart, taught a billionaire what it truly meant to be rich.